Okay, so why do we teach elasticity? I said it's because marketers make us. And because actually it's a relatively useful concept to talk about some things. So it does work. Again, think back to what I was talking about in terms of a marketer thinking about pitching to these different markets. If you're a marketer and you're thinking about pitching to an elastic demand curve, you might think a lot about not changing prices. You're going to find other ways to manipulate demand for your product, but you're not going to be thinking about changing prices, because if you raise your prices a little bit to try to increase profits, your market will disappear. And your competitors will be laughing at you. If you're a marketer and you're facing an elastic demand curve, then your first thought might be, hey, let's take advantage of this really steep demand curve and start jacking prices up. An increase in prices will, to some extent, raise profits. So the marketers like using elasticity because it's a term they can use, because that's what marketing is thinking. Marketer, you think about, what is the demand for my product? One of the features of my product is the price. So how can I manipulate price so I can make more money? Now, the marketers, of course, won't say it that way, because that makes it sound like you're a greedy profession that's out to make as much bucks as you can. And no one, of course, likes talking about themselves like that. Right? You like to think you're doing it for the social good, that you're doing this for the best of all possible worlds. You're going to make the world a better, safer place for bunnies because you're a marketer and you're helping. But, of course, no one pays you real money to make the world a better place. People pay you real money in the business environment to make money for them. That's what your job is as a marketer. Okay, heading textbooks. So what we can find is we can actually say a lot about markets. We can make predictions about things simply by using elasticity. Okay, so I'm going to use a few cases, a few applications of the elasticity concept, so you can see, just how useful this concept can be. So one thing we can look at, as I'll show later, is that we can predict changes in revenues. And here again, if you're a marketer, right, revenues is what your company brings in from the sales of the good that you're, right? That's crucially important if you want to have a job next week. Also, we'll be talking about how elasticity can predict tax revenues. Both of these are sort of indicators of total spending on a good, and I'll show you how that works as well. So calculating price elasticity. In most cases, when we're talking about elasticity, or I'm talking about it, I'll be talking about price elasticity, right? Not income elasticity or price elasticity. The most common usage of this is price elasticity. And mostly we'll be talking about, just to keep it simple, about the demand. But there's also elasticity of supply curves, but in most cases we'll just be thinking about demand. So the formula for elasticity is usually expressed in a few different ways. So here I've got E is just a variable for elasticity, and I've got X there because X could be sort of D or S. E of D would be elasticity of demand curve. E of S is elasticity of the supply curve. And you can measure it, as I said, as a ratio of these two percentages. So the percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price. And because you've got percent on the top and the bottom, the percentages cancel out, and you just signed up with a number, 0.2. Oh, and that funny triangle thing is scientific notation for change. It comes from the Greek capital letter D, delta. Right? Delta is just the word that physicists used for change, and so a lot of other people have called it. So, if you're going to read this, that elasticity of X, so the price elasticity of the demand curve or supply curve, depending on what it is the percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price at a point along the curve, and I'll show you how that works.